Hello YouTube, Brin here from bygender.net. This is a video in response to a question that was asked in the comments of my last video. In that really rambly video, I talked about how I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary of taking hormones. It's funny, I just had another appointment at the Howard Brown Health Center in Chicago, which is where I go for my transgender medical treatment for my transition. And got blood drawn. I'm sure everything's fine, as it always has been. Got my new script written, and actually, I got, and this is off topic a little bit, but sort of related. So I had asked my doctor to update my my carry letter, which is just this, basically it's just a piece of paper that I carry around with me when I go out, and it's intended to show to security guards, to police officers, to anybody who would be in a position to make my life difficult based on my gender presentation and identity. And I got my first one back in 2009 when I went on hormones at first, and I was really nervous. At the time, I'd only been using the name Brin for about 4 months, I think. No, I take that back. Maybe it was a year, but not long enough to have it be really ingrained in my sense of identity. And I was nervous because I'm bigender, so it's not like I am the question that I'm going to read has this term, complete transition. You know, I'm not going down that traditional transsexual approach with you know, it ending in surgery and all of that. So anyway, I figured it was, oh, and I think my old one had male pronouns, which upon reflection is really silly, because the only time that I would need to show a pass letter or a carry letter is in the event that I am presenting female and somebody clocks me as male assigned at birth. So, you know, it seems silly to have a sheet that says, you know, respect him, blah, blah, blah. So I asked her to update it, and she did, because Hobro is awesome. I got it, and it's updated. Now it says Brin, formerly known as Paul. She's sort of tossed back and forth, AKA, or previously known as. She went with previously known as, but I've not had any kind of name change or anything like that. But it says, you know, this person is under the care of me at the Howard Brown Center. She is transitioning, and during this time, her appearance may have elements of, you know, differing gender presentation than might be expected, blah, blah, blah. But she should be accorded all of the same respect that any other woman would get, which is the right to be called by her own name, the right to be referred to with feminine pronouns, she, her, the right to have her driver's license reflect the appropriate gender, and, you know, something else. And I don't know if it's in my original letter, but looking at this one just stopped me cold right at that phrase. The idea that I could actually potentially take this down to my local Secretary of State's office and hand it to them and have them change my driver's license from saying M to F, just seems like, I don't know, I never thought of it. So it's weird to have the possibility thrown out there. I don't know if that's something I want to do. I don't know if that's part of my transition plan. In much the same way that I don't know about changing my name legally, would be necessarily part of my transition plan. I've thought about it a couple of times. Well, I've thought about it a lot. but I've never come to a conclusion on it because I was named Paul after my dad, and there's a lot of history involved in why I carry his name, and it feels disrespectful to give that up when it was given to me for such a precious reason. So I still struggle with that, but I never thought about changing my gender marker on my license because I don't know. I still sort of live in this liminal space where I can be read ambiguously a lot, even when I'm trying to present male. So, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with that as an option, but it's there now. So, I don't know, something to think about. And here I've gone on for like 6 minutes or something like that, and I'm not actually answering the question, or even told you what the question is. On my last video, okay, this I believe is a Japanese word, and I do not know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to try my best. And I think her name is Naunai. She's a member of the forum. She's spoken on, she's commented on my videos before, and she has a journal at BGN. So she's also a late, she realized that she was trans later in her life, as I understand. So she says, toward the end of your vid, you talked about being pleased with having been on hormones now for going on 3 years. You indicated that it helps you feel like the person you are. I presume that you're not thinking in terms of complete transition in the future, so presumably you see HRT as an end in and of itself. As such, I was wondering if you would consider doing a video going into more detail about the emotional, psychological benefit that you feel you have gained being on hormones. And Jade66 followed up and asked, as somebody who's not planning to live full-time as a woman, she also wants to know about my experience on hormones and HRT. So, I started hormones in September of 2009, and I'm on the same 3 medications that I was to start with, but at different dosage. I take finasteride, which is basically Proscar, so it's a prostate medication that inhibits testosterone uptake by your cells. So I'm on that, and I'm on spironolactone, which is a different androgen blocker, and then estradiol tablets. And I've gone back and forth with like how I administer them. I know there's a lot of debate about this is better, this is not better. I've done, I've let the estrogen dissolve under my tongue because it's supposed to take up faster, but it also takes time, and it keeps me from drinking my coffee in the morning, and that's a problem. So most of the time I'll just pop the pills in out of my handy dandy little pill box, because I take mine in the morning and the evening, but that gets all filled up from my super box of wonder. Let's see, I don't know if I can get enough room here. Or I could be smart be a smart person and just show you the box like this. Anyway, I also take a calcium supplement and multivitamin and low-dose aspirin for blood clot prevention. Prior to that, I was never somebody who had to take any medication daily, so it's really a new experience for me at that point, and I'm still kind of adjusting to it all. I even still forget sometimes 3 years on. I didn't actually notice any emotional or mental, sorry, see, I screwed with the camera and now I'm just not happy with the picture. Okay, so anyway, I didn't notice any emotional or psychological changes initially. I was never a really ragey guy. I was depressed prior to that, but I'd also recently gotten divorced, and that didn't help. But I was a bit depressive before then anyway. So it's hard to get a good baseline for my emotional and psychological state. But I was never like a crazy, over-the-top macho or guyish guy, except that I had a tendency to mansplain all the time. So I had a pretty serious habit of just talking over people and speaking on topics, whether I knew what I was talking about or not, as if I had a PhD in it. That has not actually changed all that much, although I'm more conscious of it, so I try to be more humble. But I don't think that has anything to do with the hormones. So I'd always been fairly even-keeled, so going on the hormones, I didn't notice that much change. A couple of months in is when I was first able to really cry. I lost my mom when I was really, really young, so I kind of spent my childhood in tears. And as a little boy in tears in school, you learn pretty quickly that nobody likes to see that. And so I learned how to not cry. And I was such a good student that I had a really difficult time crying even when it was appropriate. I never got to the point where I was like crying at the drop of a hat. I've seen some trans women report that. I wasn't really swingy as far as moods and emotions go. And I thought I had just, I was just getting the physical changes that I wanted. My boobs were developing, albeit slowly. My fat was redistributing what little I had. I know, right? Terrible problems. So I thought I was like this crazy lucky person who, hormones don't really have that big of an effect on. It was all mind over matter and all of that stuff. Until